Hi, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel, Leo. If you have a Leo sun, rising or moon, then this October 2020 reading may well resonate for you. It is a general. My soul stories are a blend of astrological influences, working with the tarot and my own guides to try and intuit messages and information that's going to help you to navigate the coming weeks. If it resonates, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and you can also join me for the extended version of this reading. All of the details for that are in the description box in the comment section underneath. Looking forward to seeing what's going to come out for you this month, Leo. So let's go take a look. Okay, Leo, let's take a look at this October soul story for you. Libra season is activating that third house of communication, the way that you think, the way that you intellectualize the information surrounding you and how you express yourself. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how you are then going to be able to navigate through a month that is going to be this incredibly intricate blend of really mind-blowing layers of different types of energy. It's an incredibly alchemical month. You know, we have two powerful full moons, the first coming in on the 1st of October, full moon in Aries, and then we culminate on the 31st, the same day as Halloween, Samhain, with a full moon, which is also a rare blue moon in the sign of Taurus. These two full moons are pinning us into this very sacred time. And nothing is really going to be moving in that linear way through the month of October. Expect it to be intense, wild, a little chaotic, and yet at the same time deeply calm, deeply serene, and sort of not really making sense and constantly contradicting itself at every twist and turn. Now, we draw the Queen of Coins as we open up your reading for October, Leo, and this is wonderful because what it's showing me is actually your ability to be grounded and leveled and kind of find your equilibrium is going to keep you on track, right? And expect that there will be rapid change and expansion happening through this month, okay? But you are being asked to go lightly and to really keep a very open mind, okay? That full moon in Aries, activating your 9th house of expansion, of higher learning. So, you know, really embracing that new philosophy and something coming to a point of fruition, completion, or coming to a head. You know, there is a lot of volatile energy that comes in and around that beginning of the month. We also have the second square between Mars and Pluto coming in on the 9th. Remember back to August 13th to see what the themes and energies are that are pertinent to that. Queen of Coins suggests that you are looking to be incredibly resourceful with your time, your energy, your money, everything that is of a priority to you, Leo. I feel like through this month of October, you are paying special attention to it. And remember, that third house energy is all about the kind of short-term plans. And in some instances, it may be that that's the best that the best approach to have through this month, because there's going to be so many switchbacks and possible redirections for things that you're going to want to stay very agile and adaptable and kind of fluid, you know. It's also a time though to harvest and to reap the rewards of so much of where you've been really investing in, you know, through the course of this year with these two powerful full moons, and particularly that Taurus full moon that comes in on the 31st, a very special day of, you know, things coming to a point of completion, activating that 10th house of career for you as well, Leo. So you can expect in and around that time there to perhaps be some incredibly good news or very unexpected opportunities coming your way. Now, full moons do want to bring things to light, so there is going to be information, there's going to be conversations and communication that's perhaps going to change your mind about something, okay? And you may well have some jolts, some surprises that we need to pay attention to. The Five of Coins coming in here, I feel, is really representative of the kind of scrambled signal that is also going to permeate this entire month, because we have Mercury moving retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. And in that water energy, it does tend to make things much more intensely emotional, okay? We also still have Mars retrograde, and of course the two full moons just really creating this haze or fog. And so at times it is going to feel like everything that you kind of had crystal clear in your mind all of a sudden, all of the fears and the doubts and perhaps the reasons why it might not work, or evidence showing up to the contrary of what you had seen previously or what you were feeling, is showing up. But you have to remember that it's a month of constant change, constant alchemy, and that kind of shape-shifting quality is saying, like, don't get too rattled or disrupted in anything that shows up in a lower vibrational energy, because it has the potential to leave as quickly as it arrives, okay? So that's why really not getting too attached to either what people are saying, if it's coming forth in a less desirable way, or situations that seem to be kind of turning something on its head. Of course, if you can stay in that very observer role, and then you can keep your cool, which I feel like that Queen of Coins energy is absolutely inviting you to do, Leo, then you're going to be able to navigate through whatever this is represented by, okay? Now, for some of you, you may well be keeping a very close eye in and around finances. There could be some flux or changes happening around that aspect of things, okay? But remember that there's also some really beautiful placements coming in with Venus this month that rules that relationship to material possessions. And, you know, it's going to trine with Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn towards the end of the month. So regardless of what it is that you're going through, the energy is in a much more forward motion. And actually these big outer planets all working their way through Capricorn are now forward motion and coming to the end of their time over the next few weeks. And so, you know, you are going to start to feel the advancement of that as well, okay? And look at the way that they're actually turned in completely opposite directions. So for some of you, this may really represent someone or something from the past, okay? And it is going to feel at times more challenging to kind of free yourself or disassociate yourself from what has been before, because those retrogrades just want to kind of plunge us back in sometimes. So maybe the arrival of someone or something, the triggering of a memory or an experience. You got to remember though, your initial reactionary responses is going to be perhaps so much of an old conditioning or an old version of self. That Libra season with your third house wants you to think differently, you know. This is about a time of expansion. And although there is a little bit of magic, there also is a little bit of mayhem. So being able to keep your cool in that instance is going to be incredibly important. Now, you may well have an earth sign that's in and around you through the month, Leo. And if that is the case, it certainly seems to be that there's some messages, communication, and there is a need, I feel, to have that kind of honest interaction. I think the challenge is that you're going to be wanting with that Libra energy in your third house to kind of sit down and really be direct and open and honest with someone or more than one person about, you know, where you feel the right direction is, what you feel needs to happen and where you're heading. And yet we then have this Mercury and Scorpio in your fourth house, that internal emotional landscape, and it's much more of a non-verbal communication. It's very probing, it's very intense, it's very kind of shape-shifty, and so you may well come up against that energy from other people in the way that they're projecting it to you. Or it's almost like you have the courage and the confidence to do something, and then at the 11th hour or right before or actually during that interaction, all of a sudden, you know, something comes in to kind of derail you or disrupt you and sort of send you into that kind of way of thinking. So understand that the energies are so complex this month, and that they're all kind of telling a different story, and there's multiple storylines that are happening at any given moment, and that's why it's going to be so important to try to keep your center, to make sure that you are being, you know, faithful to yourself, faithful to your vision, faithful to everything that you've come to understand about what this year has taught you. And, you know, this year is really a little bit of a movie reel. It's like the highlights of the best and the worst of 2020. Now, that might sound quite intense for some of you, and I think it probably will be. There are going to be moments that are going to feel quite overwhelming, but at the same time, there's going to be really beautiful times of release and something coming in this level of sweetness where you're gaining recognition or deep understanding. Now, the Eight of Cups has this beautiful full moon represented here. We can see there's a bird flying freely wanting you to look at the bigger picture, wanting you to see that the illumination of the emotional journey that you have been on through the course of 2020, and that actually what you will go through in this very sacred time in October is leading you somewhere that is so profoundly important in terms of the growth and what comes next for you, that they are wanting you to dance with that energy. They don't want you to resist it. You know, if the Five of Coins is the epitome of you struggling and sitting in an energy of lack or disbelief or uncertainty, then, you know, almost this Eight of Cups is turning that on its head and saying, do you know what, I will release and let go of, whether it's a limiting thought, whether it's a person, whether it's an energy or a situation, because I understand the mutability of what's happening right now in the world. I understand that there's this kind of crescendo that we're building to in order to clear out so many aspects of you know, kind of the frequency that we're dealing with at the moment, and that's going to mean that I have to make space for what comes next. So for me, it is a kind of maybe a little bit of a bittersweet quality that comes in here, but overall we see you feeling strong and centered within yourself, okay? Unwilling to let things disrupt you and affect you in the way that they have previously, okay? And here's the thing, you may well have that little bit of a test to come in that says, okay, you thought you were over this, you thought that you were past this, let's just remind you of what it felt like or what it taught you, and you're going to come out of that genuinely, I think, with the sense of absolute freedom and liberation, and having released yourself from something profound. Now, okay, Tower at the center of your reading, I know some of you are going to be feeling, okay, where is this going? Where is this going? But actually for me, as it sits beyond side this beautiful Eight of Cups energy, that is the depth to which you have gone to within yourself to pull out that strength and that resiliency and that determination to keep walking forward. It's not a time to go back. The Tower for me is it's the surrounding energy. It's like this big melting pot of what's going to be taking place through this month of October worldwide. It's the intensity of that. And yes, at times I think you will bump into that energy, that intensity, that particular storyline. But at any given moment, you get to change direction in your thought process, in the way that you are responding to things. And what you can really understand and look at is that the Tower is an absolutely necessary part of the alchemical process. We have to break things down in order to create something extraordinarily beautiful and new and vibrant and rich in possibility. And that's where we're heading with this. You know, we're allowing this rapid energy to break us open even further so that we are fully ready for what comes next. Now, the Six of Cups here does suggest that perhaps the internal turbulence that you may feel or you may experience on the external is connected into things that linger still in your heart space or in your thought forms. But there's still so much for you to gain from the experience of seeing where these memories now want to take you. Where does the energy want to flow, is what they're telling me, right? So if you find that you're getting kind of pulled back into difficult or traumatic memories, or perhaps things or situations are arising or coming in and around your experience and sort of feeling like they're going to be disruptive or derailing you, where are you holding on to that energy within your physical body, Leo? Yeah, what is the hold that it has over you? Because what I'm seeing here is that you're just prepared to allow one powerful, cathartic, purging release of that, okay? And for some of you, that might be about breaking bonds, powerful bonds. For some of you, it might be about profound, deep acceptance of the loss or the change of something. You know, and I've said this in other readings through this month of October, there is a process of grief that's involved with every single change that happens in our lives. Some of them, you know, come in and we don't really give it a second thought. Other times those changes are so uncomfortable and feel so intense and require us to stretch beyond our comfort zones. And it feels like we're never going to be able to reach the other side, and yet when we do, and the changes that have taken place as a result of that, we realise how much more we've become. And so it's never a part of the process that we can skip, because that just isn't how life is. And yet where we are holding on to things that are no longer going to be supportive to the next level, the next type of energy that we're going to be working with, the new themes and ideas. And remember, we're working towards the second set of eclipses coming in towards the end of the year. And, you know, sometimes the storylines for those can start to show up early. So even through October, you might be bumping into some of what's going to be around the corner for you. But what I'm also really feeling into with that tower energy is just like a complete release of some sort of indoctrinated view that you've held on to, that you've known for a long time, just wasn't really like sitting comfortably with you. And perhaps you were feeling into different ideas, different ideologies, different philosophies. And there's something about that full moon in Aries and the culmination point of that, where you're just finally giving yourself permission to just say, I have to walk away from that. Like, that just doesn't resonate with me anymore. I know too much. I've been educated to the degree that I understand that, you know, the world is different than what I originally thought that it was. And I have to kind of honour that. And sometimes we have to sort of disrupt or break things in our own life in order to, you know, give ourselves that sense of freedom. And so there's like a self-sabotaging quality, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. I kind of mean that in a positive, because you're just aware that even if there are things in your life that are okay, you know, they're not kind of you know, causing you any deep divide, but you're still understanding that they're not compatible anymore with where you're heading or who you feel you're becoming or what it is that you want from your relationships or your work. And so that process of alchemy, that magic and that mayhem is what enables you to tap into the actual natural energy that is you, King of Wands. That's your fire element, Leo. That's you in your most visionary, you in your most instinctive, you in your most compassionate and passionate outlook on what is possible, what you have to offer, and what you expect and value from the people that you want to surround yourself with, you know. That Pluto moving direct in Capricorn on the 4th, you know, gives us the opportunity to reflect on the deep shadow aspect of the self that we've been working with, the transformation that's taken place, and how we've been able to take care of ourselves. All that 6th house energy you've been working with through Capricorn really starting to kind of hit home now. And yes, there's, I think, some profound reality checks that are set to come through in the month of October, but I see them as wholly liberating and empowering for you. I actually feel incredibly empowered when I look at that image in the tower, you know, the way that she's just gazing upwards toward the guidance of the heavens, that celestial kind of energy that says, okay, I understand, I have to break free of this restriction, remember who I am, and actually just take charge of something, take control of something, you know. And part of that is the tenderness and the nurturing of that inner child, of honouring the journey that you've been on, and then deploying it in terms of how it needs to show up in everything that you are approaching. The way that you validate yourself this month is going to be incredibly important, Leo, incredibly important. And they just give me this sort of strange vision of, like, you know, when kids or animals, or, you know, and they're growing and they're kind of like at that really awkward stage where, you know, they might have shot up and yet they still have a real baby face, or, you know, they're all legs and limbs, and it's kind of that like awkwardness in October that I'm feeling into. So it's just like there are parts of your life that have expanded rapidly, and you're already into that new journey, and you're already making the changes and feeling the flow and the excitement and the kind of charge of that. And yet then there are other parts that haven't caught up yet, and trying to sort of bridge that gap and find that balance that Libra wants us to do could just feel a little bit uncomfortable at times, but it's going to resolve itself. It's going to come back into harmony. And I think your King of Wands just wants you to trust yourself. He's here to kind of steady the ship a little bit for you, and to give you that level of trust that you have in yourself. You know, I mean, we are looking at a sense of closure, and you know, with 2 full moons, it is about that surrender. It's about that release energy. Okay. It's interesting as we sort of look at the center of your reading here, and it all feels like the purging and the clearing and the breaking down that's necessary to let this beautiful flow. And it is this lovely, gorgeous, sacred flow. And you know, even when we tapped into the energy last month and you were really starting to understand why things were knitting together, and so I know you've got that vision. I know there's an understanding within you of what it is that's taking place here, and it's almost like a willing surrender from your part to just say, I'm ready for something exceptionally different to happen in my life, in this specific area, and I'm ready to think completely differently about the world, about humanity, about myself, about the way that I am showing up, and how I've chosen to absorb and intellectualize and deal with so much of what 2020 has been about for me. So I'm actually seeing beneath the chaos is this calm, and it's a level of certainty that I think is going to feel quite natural to you, and so there's not an element of fear that comes in with any of this. There really isn't. There's just this merging of understanding the different parts of the process and being able to access this higher mind, you know, this quality of discernment and wisdom to keep you leveled. And I love that we have these powerful earth signs kind of opening and closing this reading for you through the month, Leo, because I just know that whatever takes place through this kind of melting pot, this really complex layering of energies, is actually about rapid expansion for you. Ascension and transformation. You know, there's such powerful transformation. So if we are looking at this from a perspective of what's happening in and around your work and your career, we're seeing advancement, we're seeing some amazing kind of success and things coming to fruition, but we're also looking at the way that you're communicating and almost seeing a significant overhaul. And that might translate into how you show up online, how you talk or connect to your clients or your co-workers or colleagues, the way in which you're trying to balance out your work and life, your work life, your home life. And that overhaul is almost one of those and you're never going to go back type of a vibes. You're never going to go back, right? Now, for some of you, there may well be some ending and closure to certain areas in your life through this month of October. Hold judgment in terms of kind of what you think that might mean, because there are some incredible redirections and switchbacks that I think are going to be taking place over the next few weeks, all right? So you have to pay attention to the subtlety, to the details, as well as to the big picture. That's why I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this third house that wants you to go very intellectual and that air energy of Libra, that is inviting slightly more pragmatic, practical approach, and yet all of that scorpionic energy with Mercury, with the other retrograde planets, and then when we move into Scorpio season, that actually want you to intuit on a much deeper, sensitive level, feeling into the energy of everything. So there are I feel people showing up this month to remind you. People are going to be very powerful reminders, Leo, right? As to the growth that you have allowed yourself to embrace through the course of 2020, okay? And so expect them to come in at different levels, okay? Depending on the storyline that you are moving through on any specific day. And here's the thing, it's probably going to feel like you're reading like 10 different novels at once throughout October. So I just want you to kind of be prepared for that, okay? But it is going to make perfect sense as we culminate toward that end of the month. It's going to make perfect sense, because that sense of completion and closure and the newness of what's going to start to emerge as we build powerfully to the end of the year is going to feel exciting. But people are showing up to show you, the goodness and the success and the validation of things. And they're also going to remind you of what you left behind and why, or of the boundaries that you've asserted, or the reasons that you made certain decisions and choices through the last few months, okay? So expect that, and then it's not going to come as a surprise to you. Like I said, mind-blowing layers of energy, not progressive in the way that it should feel. It's going to time jump all over the place. And so the more fluid and adaptable you can be, the more lightly you can move, the better it's going to feel for you, okay? I think there is this real importance to have these direct, honest conversations and communications. I do see that happening, and I see a quality of balance and understanding on both sides, okay? But also the release and the letting go of things that perhaps have been problematic or felt like a thorn in your side for a long time, okay? There's something about a deep release of something that you've held on to or has had a hold over you, breaking, literally breaking, so you can free yourself. Remind yourself of the fluidity and the lightness of the way that she's dancing with that energy of the Eight of Cups. It's a beautiful release. It's a sweet surrender, Leo, okay? So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards are reflecting your reading. Spirit guide. Okay, beautiful. So the veil is obviously at its thinnest as we move all the way through this month, and the help that is available to you at any given moment from loved ones in spirit, from your own team of guides, from that higher mind and access to source wisdom is so incredibly important. It will continue to validate your experiences for you. Remember, the energy is very shape-shifting, so if you are connecting, be very aware of the ways in which you connect, making sure that your energy management is supportive of only attracting and connecting to the highest guides possible, and strongest light vibrations. Now, there's something about the kind of mirroring quality here that almost draws us to the Libra energy that we're working with. We're trying to balance things out here. And it also, for me, really indicates that sort of aspect of the two full moons that we have as well. And so I think both on the 1st of the month and the 31st of the month, your ability to connect very deeply into the divine is going to deliver important messages for you about how you can navigate and what you can take from this month, okay? Because understand it is rich, absolutely rich in terms of its nutrients, what it's going to be offering you to help sustain you as we move forward into the next chapter, okay? So your spirit guides are always with you, forever supporting you, guiding you, and acknowledging where you're at in any given part of the journey. And so take the comfort of that, and also harness the magic and the power and the potency. It's such a powerful time for manifesting through this month of October. So using all those processes and working with the power of your mind, particularly with that third house energy, I think is going to be incredibly important. Have faith in your dreams, waxing crescent moon. And, you know, I love that we have the butterfly here, again, just denoting that time of transformation. And there's something just about sort of coming into that beautiful time of bloom and blossom again. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving through that cycle deep into the autumnal time where we need to allow things to release, to die, to, you know, come to that point of sacred rest. And, you know, in the Southern Hemisphere, you're already welcoming that burst of change. So wherever you are in this cycle, there's movement. It's constant. Holding your faith and moving into an even deeper trust through this month of October will help you to navigate and adapt fluidly to the gifts that it has for you. Yeah. Okay, so these are Halloween oracle cards, which I thought would be kind of fun for this month. Let's take a look. Night Song, Hidden Talents. Okay, so through the combustible kind of mix of energies in October, and perhaps as a result of some of the shifts and changes that are going to be taking place, these full moon energies are revealing aspects of the self that you never fully comprehended, you know. So natural gifts, your newfound desires, curiosity and interests are going to be activated powerfully that could set you on an entirely new course with something, Leo, and that feels really exciting. It's in that kind of magical time, you know, through the quietness and the stillness of the night, that you are going to be able to make sense, to process, and to really receive so much of the information that is important. I'm just kind of looking back at that Six of Cups because it's just, they're just saying to me, like, it's important that I draw out the tenderness and the nurturing energy that's coming forth here. And I need to say that is toward the self, you know, that's about the way that you hold yourself through the coming weeks and months, because we're moving you, the trajectory for you is so exciting and it's so expansive, and yet we understand sometimes in order to fully realize and embrace that there are difficult energies that we need to kind of absorb and to work through. So that tenderness and that gentle kindness towards yourself and others is an approach that's going to be one of the things that helps sustain you and keeps you true to who you are. Yeah, keeps you true to who you are. That you are resourceful, you are drawing abundance towards you with the manifestation of these full moons, particularly that Taurus full moon at the end of the month. You are learning quickly. You are learning incredibly quickly through this month. So this is a general reading, Leo. If it has resonated, please do let me know. Drop me your comments and feedback. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, I'm going to go ahead and draw some clarifying cards right now, and we'll see how they play out for you. I'd invite you to just think about a question that might not have come up, and I will answer that in the extended for you. You can find the link for that in the description box underneath and also in the comment section. It's just a way to support my channel, and I am deeply, deeply grateful for those of you that do join me. And even when you tune in and subscribe and drop me a like and a comment, it's all appreciated. So let's just clarify this Queen of Coins energy. We have Seven of Swords. It's not about holding on to an imposter syndrome anymore, Leo. You know, you are utterly deserving of the joy, the happiness, the radiance, the abundance, everything it is that you are hoping and striving for, the dreams that you have, you know, they are yours. You were given them for a reason. You were able to tap in and sense them and feel them and look toward them. Now look at that Empress energy just coming in over the 5. Just as a reminder, there's no lack here. There's no lack here. Okay, we have the Empress and the Emperor coming in. Powerful partnerships, perhaps husband and wife here, or just forming of partnerships in your life. Strong relationships coming in. Look, beautiful new beginnings and opportunities flowing with that Ace of Wands, okay? So, the Lovers. Again, partnerships coming together in union. Perhaps there's some focus in and around relationships. We'll look into that. Another ace coming through. Beautiful. That's why the extended readings are really nice, because they take us on the full entirety of this journey, you know, so we get to understand why some of these other energies are showing up, you know. Okay. Tower. The energy is very focused with that Eight of Wands in the Tower, so it feels like short, sharp jolt, you know. It's here and then it's gone. Air sign coming through here, Gemini, Libra or Aquarius. Is that relevant to somebody from your past, or a reconnection here perhaps? Sudden change is shown very strongly in this reading. Judgment coming in here as well. So we'll explore a little bit more. We've got Strength card coming up. interesting. At 6 of Cups, Queen of Swords, and then we had 6 of Cups and King of Swords there. So almost just feels like the same person, same energy. It's just a further validation of it coming through. Okay, Leo, I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to join me, then I look forward to continuing this conversation. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for this month of October. Remember, it's magic, it's mayhem. There is some real opportunity for extraordinary things to take place. Ride the waves, stay grounded, keep an open mind, and try to move as lightly as you can. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll tune in with you again next month. Bye for now.